Stephanie Denman here from the Denman Homestead. Today I am making shampoo bars. So what is a shampoo bar? Shampoo bar is actually like a hard soap bar that you can use on your hair. You can also use it on your body, so it's like an all-in-one, but you can use it for your hair, which I think is pretty neat. It's got some beneficial oils that are good for your hair, and we're also going to add in some essential oils too that are healthy for your hair but also give it a nice scent. So let's get started. Today we're going to make a lavender mint shampoo bar. So to do that, I am going to take my scale here and some mint leaves that I have dried from our mint plant, and to show you what I got here, some dried mint. And I'm going to go ahead and measure out my water. This is going to be the water that I'm going to mix with my lye solution. So I need 9 ounces of water, but I'm going to make a tea with this. This is distilled water that I've heated up to a boil, and I'm going to pour in 9 ounces of water. And then I'm going to add in some of my dried mint to this hot water. And I'm basically going to steep this like a tea. And then I'm going to let this cool to room temperature before I incorporate my lye solution to this hot water. Now you can add as much or as little as you want of the mint. The more you add in, you might get a little bit more of that mint flavor or that scent in your coming through. I'm just going to, I don't know, maybe like a 1/4 cup or so of the mint leaves. I kind of mashed them with my hands as I put them in there to release some of those natural oils as they hit the water. And I'm just going to give this a little bit of a stir. And again, I'm going to just let this steep for a while until it comes down to room temperature. If you have a cold, steep some of this over some hot water and just steam yourself with this. This will clear you right up. My next step is, if you guys have been keeping up with my previous episodes, I got some herbs in some olive oil and I let them infuse in the sun for about 5 days. So this is one of those. This is my lavender petals that I let sit in this jar. Look how dark that is. This is olive oil that sat in the sun with some lavender petals. Now I'm going to use this olive oil in the soap recipe, so I need to strain off these lavender petals. This is the first time I'm opening this, so I want to smell it and just see what it smells like. Yeah, that smells really good. It doesn't even smell like olive oil, it just smells like a lavender oil to me. Okay, so I have got a little strainer here that I'm going to see if this will work for me, and try to strain off some of this oil into what I need. I need 10 ounces of this olive oil. So again, get your scale out. So now I'm going to zero out my scale and I'm going to pour in 10 ounces of this lavender olive oil, and I'm going to use this for my recipe. Just at 10 ounces. So let me transfer this into a different container. This is my 10 ounces of lavender-infused olive oil. Make sure that the water that you're using in this recipe is distilled water. Water from your tap, water from your filter, all of those things have some minerals, can have some like chlorine, fluoride, all those extra additives that sometimes water treatment facilities add in. If you're on well water like me, you've got those hard minerals like calcium. copper, all those things that can end up in your deposits in your water. And so we want to make sure that it's distilled water. You can buy them in the grocery store in jugs. That's what I use for this recipe, so that there's no little funky stuff that can mess up your soap. Okay, we've got our olive oil, and now let's go ahead and measure out our coconut oil for this recipe, for this next part. All right, here's my big thing of coconut oil. So the oils in this recipe are going to be your infused olive oil, coconut oil, sunflower oil, and castor oil. Those are the main oils that are going to be in this one. And I'm going to need 8 ounces of coconut oil. 8 ounces of coconut oil there. Now let's do the sunflower oil and the castor oil. So I need 4 ounces of each. 4 ounces of sunflower oil and 4 ounces of castor oil. So I'm going to put them both in this 1 cup. Just going to measure 4 ounces and then add another 4 ounces to that. So I'm saving some space. This is my sunflower oil. You can get this at your grocery store. In the oil section, like the cooking, baking section. Okay, so 4 ounces of castor oil. Okay, got 4 ounces of castor oil. Got coconut, sunflower, and castor in my olive oil here. Now I'm just going to set these aside, and now I'm going to go ahead and mix my lye solution. My lye is what makes soap soap. Now, lye is highly caustic, which means that it is corrosive. It can if you get it on your skin or in your eyes, it's very dangerous. So if you're new to soap making, please wear gloves, protective eyewear, long sleeves, whatever you need to do to make yourself feel comfortable. But be careful when you're using lye and then you're mixing it into water, because it kind of lets off this gas that if you inhale it, not great for your lungs. So you need to do it in a well-ventilated open room, or even outside or near an open window. I have a very open space here, fan going and everything, so I feel comfortable to do this right here in my kitchen. But if you're doing this for the first time, make sure that you use precaution when working with lye. Also, a tip about lye: never pour your water ingredient into your lye. You always pour your lye into your water. If you add water into lye, it can bubble over and create like an explosion, and it can be very, very dangerous. So always put your lye into your water when you're mixing it. 3.82 ounces of lye. Now we're gonna put this into our mint tea, and it's still a little warm here. It's not come back down to room temperature yet. So I'll go ahead and measure out this lye and take a break, and then I'll come back whenever this is cooled. I may end up putting this into maybe like an ice bath to help cool it down a little quicker, but I just really want to give these mint leaves an opportunity to fully release all that natural oil and scent and everything that creates this nice mint tea for the soap recipe. So let's go ahead and measure out the lye and get that ready. Again, we need 3.82 ounces. You need to be pretty specific with your lye to water ratios. Too much lye can be bad. Too little lye is not going to make your soap work out well. So just make sure you follow your instructions and your lye to water ratios. All right, I got 3.8. My lye is right here. So, I'll put that up, and then I will come right back to you whenever I transfer this, when I strain out this mint water solution into our new bowl. That way we can add our lye to it and get going on making our soap. I used that time to clean up my workstation, put away all my oils that I was using, and I'm gonna go ahead and strain off my peppermint water tea into a larger glass container, and then we will add in the lye. I have had questions in the past about, can you do this without lye? I don't feel comfortable using lye. Why do you have to use lye? I don't make soaps. I don't make soap recipes without lye. Technically, it's not even considered soap without lye. Lye is a chemical found really in nature that has just been refined and has been used for a very long time in soap making. So I understand if you feel that you don't feel comfortable using lye. I don't have another substitute for lye. At this time, I don't. So unfortunately, you know, that is what I'm working with today. There's plenty of other, I think, ways that you can go look into some other liquid soap type glycerins and things like that. I don't use those recipes, so I'm not sure. I'm sorry. I can't give you any advice on that. What I can tell you is that we're about to add our lye into our mint tea. It smells so good. That'll be the last time I stick my nose in this solution, but that smells really good. I could drink this, like this is like a tea, okay? But once the lye goes in here, we're not drinking anything. All right, so I'm gonna slowly add in my lye to my water mixture. And I'm actually gonna use my spoon here as kind of a buffer so it doesn't just splash in. And I'm gonna slowly let that kind of incorporate. And this is going to heat up. It gets pretty hot. And it's changing colors. I don't know if you can tell or not, but let me safely bring this to you guys. Ooh. You can see the steam coming off the top of it, that chemical reaction that the lye has with the water. So I'm just going to continue to stir this until all of the lye is incorporated. I don't want any large lye bits. I want it completely dissolved. I'm using a silicone spatula here to do my stirring. That fine mesh strainer that I use to strain out the mint solution does let little tiny particles of mint come through, and that's okay. It'll just give your soap some character. But we're gonna stir this for a couple minutes until it goes from like a really dark cloudy to start to clear up some. Once it clears up, we know that the lye is starting to dissolve into the water. And then we're gonna let this sit because we want this to come down to about anywhere between 100 and 110 degrees. So we're gonna wanna let this cool off some, and in the meantime, while we're letting this cool, we're gonna move over to the stove and we're gonna put all these oils on a double boiler and combine them together and melt them together, melt them down, and then we wanna bring that to 110 degrees. And that way we can combine these two together and they're gonna be at similar temperatures. All right, so this has gotten already clear, like a clear tea almost. Don't drink it, but it's cleared up quite a bit. So I'm gonna let this sit to the side and start to cool down. Now, anything that this lye mixture touches is going to be caustic, corrosive, acidic, whatever you want to call it. It's going to eat anything that like skin or whatever. So just make sure if you splash, you need to wipe and make sure that whatever this touches is thoroughly cleaned. So this spoon that I have right here, I'm setting it down in my sink because I want it away from everything else. All right, I've got my glass bowl on top of a large pot filled with about an inch or two of water, and I'm gonna go ahead and turn my stove on and let this water come to like a simmer. And I'm gonna add in all of my oils because I want them to combine and melt down and become one. Now this is not going to take long at all. Coconut oil does not take much for it to come to a liquid state. Even if you have like solid coconut oil in your home, and if you keep it by your oven or your stove while you're cooking, sometimes you'll look over and it's all melted. And then it'll solidify again. So this is the only hard oil that we have in this mixture. So everything else is already in a liquid state, so it's not going to take very long to combine these all together. Technically, this is called a cold process soap, even though we are heating it up to combine these two compounds, the lye along with the oils. It's not a hot process soap. Hot process soap is where you cook out the lye solution, the lye water solution, in one day, and you can use the soap the very next day. This cold process does not have us cooking down this soap. It's going to have the moisture and the saponification process happen over 4 weeks. So it's all up to preference on what the method that you would like to use. I do both hot process and cold processing soap depending on the soap recipe that I am doing. I enjoy hot process soaps when I want something really, really quickly. Cold process soaps I find hold colors better. They're creamier in texture. They may have a harder bar instead of a softer bar. Kind of depends on the ingredients you use with that. But so yeah, I mean, you can play around with both. But when you have a hot process soap, you really have to worry about your essential oils burning off because they have a flash point. So adding in essential oils to a cooked soap sometimes can just get rid of all of your essential oils. You don't even have a scent. Where this one, you're not even bringing it up past 110 degrees. So your flash points are going to be very low. Your scents are really going to stick. You're going to have a very fragrant bar of soap. So there's pros and cons to each. But this recipe here is going to be a cold process soap. So this one's going to have to cure for about 4 weeks before we can use it. So right now I'm just combining the oils together in this pot. And then I'm just going to monitor the temperature, and I've got a infrared thermometer that I can check the temperatures on each solution. And like I said, once they both come to around 100 to 110 degrees, we'll combine them both, and I'll show you what we do next. I have pulled off, let me fix you here. I've pulled off both solutions because I have heated this down. It's all combined it's reading about 125 degrees, the oil is. My lye solution is now reading about 126, so they're cooling at about the same rates. I did stick my lye solution in a little ice bath, I'll show you, to try to, because I knew the coconut oil was not going to take long to dissolve. So I just stuck this right on top, and then I kind of stirred around the solution for a little bit until it reached similar temperature to my oils. That way they can continue to cool down at the same rate. I'm actually just using this thermometer here. It's like for fevers, but also it has an option for objects. So you can switch back and forth between people and objects on this thermometer, which I think is pretty cool. And you just hold it at a distance and scan, and then it reads you the temperature. It's 130 degrees now of the oil. Let's see. and that's 118. So I'm gonna stir this around, see if I can't get this to cool off just a little bit quicker. Because we're right there, about to combine everything together. Now what I have next, I'll show you what's up next, is my immersion blender. Okay, so this immersion blender I only use for soap making. Be sure that you keep most of your stuff separate. So like I have a separate crock pot for soap making. Anything that has like just oils and stuff like that in it that can be cleaned out really well. But stuff like this that I use often that can kind of get up in the gears and, you know, just kind of stuff that's hard to clean, I keep it separate with my soap making stuff. I don't want to use this for food. So in a minute, we're going to combine our lye into our oils, and then we're going to blend it with the immersion blender until it comes to trace. And I'll tell you what trace is. Trace looks like almost like a pudding, where you can like draw a line in the soap mixture and it'll hold its shape. That is what's called coming to trace. Right around that time is when we're going to add in some extra essential oils. I've got lavender essential oil and some peppermint essential oil, and that's just going to give it a little bit of an elevated boost of scent. And then I have some purple mica powder. It's soap dye. It's an all-natural mineral that you can add to your soaps to give it a nice color. So I'm going to add in some purple dye. And then on top of that, I might sprinkle on some of these lavender buds just to give it a little bit of flair. So that's what we've got coming up. But right now I'm waiting for this to come down to temperature. I'm just going to give this a little bit of a stir, try to get this moving around and cooling off a little bit, and then we're going to blend it up. I'm going to zoom in on this for you guys so you can kind of see how this part works. All right. So I have got my my oils here. I went ahead and put it on the ice bowl because this was chilling a little bit quicker than this was. So I've got my ice, or I've got my oils now down to about 115 degrees. This here is at 107. So with the temperature difference, I feel confident that we're gonna end up around 110 when these all combine. Close enough for me. And I'm going to combine this lye solution into my oils. And I'm going to do it very slowly, carefully. Okay. I'll set this aside. And I'm just going to first stir to combine this together before I start the immersion blender. I'm not going to do the immersion blender just yet. I'm going to stir to combine, and then I'm going to blend this. So this is pretty well combined. And I'm not going to add in the coloring or the scents just yet. I'm going to do that when we come to trace. So take your immersion blender, and we're going to slowly start to combine this. Now, some soaps come to trace really quickly. Some soaps take a while. Again, when you're looking for trace, it's when you can like basically draw a line in the soap and it holds its shape. Right now, this is still very liquid. You can tell it is thickening up some, but it's not to trace yet. So we're going to keep going. All right, we are almost there. I can tell that it's starting to want to hold its shape. I'm going to give it just a little bit more, and then we should be good. All right, let me get you guys a little bit closer so you can see what I'm talking about. So see how when I pick up my immersion blender, how you can tell it kind of holds its shape on the top of the soap? That's what is called coming to trace. Kind of like a pudding consistency here. This is where I feel comfortable adding in my scents, adding in my coloring. So we're gonna go ahead and do that now. So let me just get you here. Now, depending on how strong you want your soap, depends on how much essential oils you're gonna put in here. So, believe it or not, soaps do take quite a bit of oils for this scent to shine through. So I'm gonna give this, I don't know, this little bottle is half a fluid ounce. So I'm just gonna maybe do a quarter of this bottle and then a quarter of this one, and then this one's peppermint, just to bring out those peppermint extract scents. I'll mix it together and then I'll kind of see if I need to add in any more. I think it has a very nice smell. It's not too overpowering, so I'm good with that. And now I'm gonna go ahead and add in my coloring. And again, you can start small and work your way up. But we're gonna just sprinkle in some of this mica powder. And you wanna make sure it's all well incorporated. We don't want any pockets of essential oils or coloring, so I'm just gonna sprinkle some of that in. We'll start with that. And then we can add in more if we need to. Okay, I love this color. I think it looks really soft. This mica powder is called a deep purple. So it's almost got like a plum color to it. I'm not sure if it's translating through the camera, but you'll have to trust me on that. Let me just see if I can get you a little closer so you can see. When it dries, when it cools, it is going to change a little bit of color. It may lighten some, but this is what we're working with, and it's really nice. It's like a deep purple, and I'm going to probably top it off with a couple little lavender petals I have over here. So let's get this in our mold. Here we go. Here's our soap, our purple lavender peppermint soap. I've got my soap mold here, and I'm just going to carefully pour this solution, because remember, this stuff is still going to be, until it cures, it's got that lye in it, and we're going to need to make sure that we don't burn ourselves with this. So I've got to be careful on how I do this here. I'm trying to show at the same time. So a little bit, try and make sure that it's not spilling out. Let me get this turned around. Hopefully you guys can still see. So what I'm doing now is I'm just pushing down the soap, kind of getting it in there, trying to work out all the air bubbles. And then I'm going to give it a pretty hard tap on the counter a couple times. Now this soap will make anywhere between 8 and 10 bars, depends on how chunky you cut this. But we're going to let this cure for about 2 days in this mold before we try to unmold it and cut it. And I'll be sure to bring you back on that one when we cut it. Right now I'm just still smoothing, still trying to get everything worked in. Now, fun part. Take a few of these lavender petals and just sprinkle them on top. I think it'll give it a really nice look. That, guys. So this is it. This is our lavender-infused, our lavender olive oil infused shampoo bar soap. Now, how do you use a shampoo bar soap? Basically, you just use it like a shampoo bar. You lather it in your hands, and you just need to put it on the top of your head. You don't need to lather your entire strands of all of your hair, just the top, just where the roots are. And then just rinse it out and condition like normal. And if you feel that, and this goes for any shampoo, if you feel that your shampoo is starting to have like a buildup or a heaviness to it in your hair, you can always do like an apple cider vinegar rinse. It tends to kind of strip some of those oils out. But this is an all-natural cleansing shampoo soap that's beneficial for your hair and your scalp, and it'll leave you feeling clean and smelling good. So, hope you try it out, but if you don't try out your own soaps, I will have these soaps for sale coming soon, along with all of the rest of the stuff I've got coming up. And yeah, so take a look, one last look. We'll cut this up in a couple days and then let it cure for about a month. That's the hard part, is the waiting game, right? So thank you so much for joining me on this episode of this soap shampoo bar, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye, guys.